Some of the differences in education. I graduated in 1993, so almost 20 years ago, so there's been a huge differences in education, I would say. I think academically it's much harder nowadays than it was back when I graduated from high school, and I actually graduated from Mayfair. Clubs-wise and activities-wise, there's much more school spirit. There's a club that there's hundreds of clubs. I think that there's something on campus for everybody to be a part of. Technology-wise, I think the amount of technology that all these students have nowadays helps much more with what they need to do education-wise. We had pagers back then. That was what was the big thing that people had, and it didn't help you at all with any education. But now with everybody's cell phones and iPhones and all iPads and everything that our students now have, it definitely helps with the education, which again makes it harder also. So definitely lots of different changes from 20 years ago than there are now.
When I was in high school, we were afraid to go home and tell our parents, like we were afraid in school if we went home, told our parents like this teacher was mad at us or this coach was mad at us, our parents would be, if we got punished at school, the punishment at home would be twice as much. We were fearful. You didn't go home and tell your parents, because my parents didn't run down to the school and say, how come you're picking on my kid? I feel like back then, I honestly feel that the students were more accountable, were held more accountable. You didn't tell your parents you got in trouble because your parents wouldn't go down to the school and plead your case. So therefore, you didn't tell your parents when you got in trouble. So I think that there was a little more fear factor back when I was in high school. But that was back when we had to sit on floors. They didn't have desks back then when I went to high school. All right.
So one of the differences that I have noticed from students that are in school today from when I was in high school was that a lot more now is done on the computer. When we had a paper or a project that was done, you had to go to the library and use books and magazines and things like that. And now most of the students, I think, can do an entire research report on their phone and type it up that night. There was also a lot more handwritten stuff when I was in school. It wasn't very frequent that we had to turn things in that were typed unless it was a big report, and then you used an actual typewriter. So, but I'm not that old, but that's what I noticed.
Schools are far more overcrowded than what they used to be.